Good morning, everyone. Now, since its reinstatement in 1978, the death penalty has cost California over $4 billion in taxpayer money. Now, everyone has their own opinion about the death penalty, whether they've heard it through the news, through TV shows, through movies, just through anything they've heard it. Everyone has formed their own vague opinion based on their values. Well, today I will tell you about Proposition 62, which you'll be able to vote on to decide whether we should keep the death penalty and that it's worth killing criminals for their wicked and heinous acts, or if we should get rid of it because it's a savage and expensive punishment. Now, first I will tell you about what exactly Proposition 62 will do, all of its effects, so on and so forth. Second, I will tell you about why exactly people support Proposition 62 and believe we shouldn't have the death penalty. And last, I will tell you about why people believe that we should keep the death penalty and why you should say no to Proposition 62. Now, of course, before you ever vote on anything, you should always make sure you have all the information available to you. So, what exactly does Proposition 62 do? Well, first, of course, it'll get rid of the death penalty. And it'll also make it so the highest form of punishment a criminal can get will be life in prison without parole, meaning there's no chance of them leaving. Now, of course, you might be thinking, what about the people already on death row? Are they just going to be killed off eventually? No, they'll actually just be sentenced to life in prison without parole, just like all the other ones, where they will spend the rest of their life working in prison to pay off their debts to the victims' families for their crimes. Now, there's also another bit of confusion, because you see there's two propositions on the ballot this year, both involving the death penalty. We have Proposition 62, which wants to repeal the death penalty, and then we have Proposition 66, which wants to shorten the trial length so that way we're not paying as much taxpayer money to keep people on death row. Now, you might be wondering, what if both of them are voted yes? What happens? Well, if both of them are voted yes, the one with the most votes for yes will supersede the other. This means the one with the most votes yes will be effective, and the other one will be nullified. Now that we have the information regarding what exactly Proposition 62 will do, I will tell you about why people think we should get rid of the death penalty. The first reason is, of course, that we don't really know if anyone is truly guilty. It might be obvious in some cases, but in other ones, it could be a bit confusing. David Vondrell, a political journalist of Times Magazine, stated in 2014 that statisticians and professors have concluded that there is possibly 120 prisoners on death row out of 3,000 that could actually be innocent. While, of course, this is an estimate and it may not be accurate, there is still that unknowing feeling. What if they are innocent? What if something does happen where they do die and it wasn't really meant for them? So, of course, no one really wants that on their conscience, so that's why people don't think we should have the death penalty. Another reason, of course, is more of the money. You see, the death penalty costs lots of money, of course, as you should probably guess. And even Kelly Phillips Erb, a IRS employee and tax consultant of Forbes magazine, stated in 2014 that it costs $137 million to keep someone on death row, while it costs $11.7 million to incarcerate them for life. That is 12 times the amount to kill someone than it is to just imprison them for life. So, of course, there is the money, and then another thing is, what about the victims? I mean, we're keeping the person who killed their loved one, we're keeping them alive and on their taxpayer money. Well, the thing is, they will be working in prison for the rest of their life, where all the money they make, or 60% of it, goes to the victims' families to compensate for their lost loved one. Now, of course, while there is support for it to get rid of the death penalty, there are also arguments against getting rid of the death penalty, which, of course, rebuttal the first ones. So, why do people think we should keep the death penalty? Well, Mike Ramos, the district attorney of San Bernardino County, stated in the official voter guide this year in 2016 that the only people that are on death row is 1 to 2% of murderers in California, and these are the worst of the worst. They are mass murderers, they are terrorists, they're child rapists. They're the people that you think deserve to die. However, of course, it goes back to the whole idea, what if they aren't truly, if they're actually innocent? Well, you see, because it's such a small amount of murderers, people don't believe that there is anyone innocent on death row. Even our current governor, Jerry Brown, believes there is no one innocent on death row. So, of course, it's one of those things where there's only one disputed case back in the 80s in Texas that someone believes that there was an innocent person. So why should we spend taxpayer money to keep them alive? It's like an insult to the families, and plus Proposition 66, if that one goes through, then we won't be paying as much. So what's the point of getting rid of the death penalty when people believe that some people do deserve to die? Now I told you information about Proposition 62. First, I told you about why people believe we do, First, I told you about what exactly Proposition 62 will do. Then I told you about reasons why people believe we should get rid of the death penalty. And last, I told you about reasons why people believe we should keep the death penalty. Now, I hope you have all the information you need in order to make your correct vote based on your own values, based on your own ideas. I just hope now you're more informed about the logistics of it, the actual money involved, so on and so forth. So, now you guys get to decide whether we should still be spending billions of dollars in tens of years to kill someone if it's really worth it. Thank you.